Hello everybody, this is a quick tutorial on how to use the Vernier applications on our iPad. We are going to be using the video physics in the Vernier graphical analysis. The first thing that you have to do is open up your self-service, then tap on the bottom right and search for the applications. Type Vernier, or with the first 3 letters you will get to see the applications. You can see the Vernier Video Physics and the Vernier Graphical Analysis at the very top. Install both apps by pushing on the Install button. Notice how in my case it says reinstall because I already have those apps. As soon as you install the apps, you will be able to see them in your main screen. Tap on the Vernier Video Physics app to start working on it. As soon as it opens, observe on the upper right hand corner there is a question mark. If you tap on the question mark, there's very important information about the Vernier Video Physics app, some tips about how to take the video, but overall on the bottom there is important information in the web page for vernier.com or vernier.com/videophysics for more help with the app. Let's go back into the main screen for the Video Physics app. There is a plus sign in the upper left hand corner where you can take a video, choose existing videos, or use the sample videos. With my students, I would normally use choose existing videos because I like them to record their own experiments. But for the purpose of this tutorial, we will use a sample video. In this case, we will use the basketball shot. Let's start analyzing this video. Notice how the background is a solid color, clear. We're not zooming in or zooming out, and the lens of the camera is parallel to the motion. Our next step is to determine the origin and the scale for our video. With the slider on the bottom, move the video around in such a way that you can find the point in which the ball is leaving the hands of the shooter. In our case, we're going to take exactly this point right there. Now we're going to move the origin to the desired position. I would like to place it in the center. For this case, that's exactly the place that I like. If you don't like the center, you can use another point, just be consistent with it. We are going to move this measuring device to fit the meter stick that we have on the ground. Always make sure that when you're recording your video, you have a measuring tool in sight, so you can determine your scale. Sometimes it's a little tricky to do this. You have to pinch out your video. So try to make it fit to the best you can. If you notice again, at the top, we have the scale. In this case, for this specific video, we have 231 pixels equivalent to 1 meter. And that's the base for all the measurings of position and distances. Now we're going to start tracking the motion of the ball. We have 2 ways to do it. You can do it manually or you can do an automatic tracking. The tracking can be tricky depending on the background. Sometimes the object is lost, so you have to repeat it several times, and sometimes it cannot be done. Now I'm going to start tracking manually, and I'll show you how to do the tracking, the automatic tracking right after. So I'm going to tap on the center of the target and notice how I can slide up and down, making that window to see the object a little bit bigger. So that's my first point. Then my second point, every time I track a point, the app moves the object 1 frame forward. Look on the bottom right side, and there is the track. I can push on the track right after I put my object in the center of my target, and it will be tracking the points automatically. Once we finish tracking the points, what we want is export all our data into the Vernier Graphical Analysis app. What we are going to do is tap on the corner block and arrow up and data file. Then open in, and then we want to copy all this information into the graphical analysis. So tapping copy to graphical. This will open the graphs into the Vernier graphical analysis. On the top I have the position graphs, and on the bottom the velocity graphs. I'm going to work with the position graphs first. On the bottom left corner, we have a little tiny graph that we can tap, and we have graph options. In the graph options, I can type a title. In this case, it would be my position, the horizontal position, versus the time. And I really want to have, instead of lines, points, because that way I can have my best fit line drawn. I will take away the vertical position. Then I can tap on the first point, then tap before and drag it over to highlight the whole area. I will apply a best fit line, in this case linear. At this point, maybe I want to work with two graphs at the same time, so I will tap on the corner on those squares and get two graphs. I will have my vertical position, and I go to the corner on the little tiny graph on the bottom, type the title. In this case, I want the vertical position versus the time. And remember, we don't want lines on the appearance. We want points to be able to draw our best fit line and not have too many lines at once. Highlight the area and find your best fit line. In this case, well, I want a quadratic because that's what fits. And also use the equation information from the blocks. Let's say I don't want to work with position anymore. Now what I want is the velocity, so I can work with horizontal velocity or vertical velocity. And to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap on the Y label of the top graph, and I'm going to change it for the vertical velocity. I normally ask my students to show X and Y axis on the graph, so you can use your fingers and pinch in or out to expand the graph and make it fit the space. You can go to the upper right hand corner, tap on the little blocks, and make only one graph so you have a better view of what is going on. And just like we did before, you can tap on the first point, tap before and drag your finger over to highlight the whole area, add a best fit line, in this case linear, and just very happy to notice that our slope is actually pretty close to the acceleration to the gravity. So we have a 9.61 meters per second square. That is awesome, isn't it? Last quick tips. With the Work with the Graphical Analysis app, you can always go to Graph in Table and have both items in the same screen, or you can have the table with all the data for your analysis. If you want to change the column options, the label and the unit, you can do it over here. Or you can also tap those three dots and add a calculated column. For example, let's say we want to calculate the time square. So I'm typing time square, and the units are going to be seconds square. On the bottom, I can see that there are several different equations for calculation. I'm going to use the very top one. The letter A will be the number 1, and the letter B will be the number 2. On the bottom, I'm going to choose the time to have it as the X for my calculation, and then I can see how I can find in the last column the time square. I hope this tutorial has been useful for you. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time.